You're listening to the audio portion of Workshop Wednesdays. Workshop Wednesdays is a free live discussion about topics affecting accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners. You can join the ABO group in Facebook to participate live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Just search for ABBO in Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you will learn, grow, and build a thriving bookkeeping practice. We have hundreds of lessons with almost every aspect of the industry. Start your free month today at Schoolofbookkeeping.com.
Well, welcome to another Workshop Wednesday brought to you by Schoolofbookkeeping.com, where you can become the best bookkeeper you can be, because on Workshop Wednesdays, we have casual conversations for serious workflows and nothing more serious than PCI compliance.
Very serious.
All right. Last week, we talked about the GoPayment app and things that you can do in the GoPayment app, adding users and those types of things, and the whole story and the history behind GoPayment versus QuickBooks Online's mobile app. And the reason that GoPayment came to be was this whole thing about PCI compliance. And then when I mentioned that, Rachel had that deer in headlights look.
What's that?
Yeah. So we want to talk a little bit about that first, and then we'll talk about the QuickBooks Online mobile app and what you can do inside of that.
Because now I feel like I'm an expert on the green and the blue.
Yes. So now you, if nothing else, that's what you know about the GoPayment app, is there could potentially be two of them.
Yes.
And Dan is stuck in the blue.
I have the green. Mine's more modern.
Right. You're cooler than me, which goes beyond the workshop. But anywho, PCI compliance stands for Payment Card Industry. And then there are a set, it's like any trade organization, right? They're going to have a trade organization that kind of governs that industry. So PCI compliance is all about what you do with credit cards and payments, right? Because these days, and you and I were talking right before, the dark webs is all over the place. Right? And you hear every day about your information is now compromised. There's always a data breach. There always seems to be, what's the latest? It just always seems either you're giving that information away willingly and somebody is collecting it without your knowledge, or you're playing some silly Facebook game about what Stranger Things character am I?
Yeah. Or what's your mother's maiden name?
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's bonkers. But when you're dealing with other people's funds, their credit card or bank information, those types of things, you need to be PCI compliant. Payment Card Industry Standards is what that's all about. Now, the software that you're using can be PCI compliant, but that doesn't mean that you, Rachel, at Net Deposited are PCI compliant, right? Some of the things about we want to kind of clean being PCI compliant and as a software or service and being PCI compliant as a business, they're two separate things, right?
Oh, I'm so glad we're talking about this, because I really want to know all the ins and outs of this, because all of us that are firm owners or even employees, and we work remotely, my employees work all over the country. And we really have, with cloud accounting, we really have to make sure everything is secure. And I try and stay up to date with the most secure knowledge there is out there, because I take it really seriously.
And this gets really confusing because I think last year or the year before that, anybody who had a QuickBooks merchant account got inundated with these nebulous emails.
Yes, I remember. But I didn't really know what they meant. So
yeah.
Sure, light on that.
Right. So there, and the whole the point of confusion had to deal with the distinction between the Intuit QuickBooks software being PCI compliant and your business practices being PCI compliant.
Right. Any other things besides just accounting?
Right. Because Books itself is a PCI compliant piece of software, right? If you go in and you charge somebody's credit card inside of QuickBooks, The moment you step off that field by typing in the credit card number, you can never see it again. So there is no way, even you as the primary admin, you know, you won't be able to see that credit card number again.
That's
And
true. Yep.
that's part of being the software being PCI compliant. So
Yep.
as soon as somebody swipes or types in a credit card number, that is the last you
Yeah.
should
No more.
be able
It's
to
not
see.
anymore. It's not visible to you anymore. That's it.
Right. And it becomes encrypted. In QuickBooks Desktop, they have this whole thing where you have to change your password every 90 days. And what that does is it re-encrypts all that sensitive data inside of QuickBooks Desktop. Thankfully, you don't have to do that with QuickBooks Online. I can't imagine trying to keep track of your password because especially if that's all you need to get inside of your QuickBooks is a login and you can't log in, you're pretty much done for the day if you can't sign in.
Yeah. Hopefully you're using a password manager. And if that were the case, you could consistently update your password there. I actually wouldn't mind if I had to change my QuickBooks password frequently. I don't want to change my username, but I wouldn't mind
Right.
changing my password.
Yeah, that's another topic for
Yeah.
talk about the difference between emails and the services that are attached to as far as Intuit is concerned. But so the big distinction is the software is PCI compliant, meaning that you'll never be able to access customers' payment information as soon as you enter it into QuickBooks. When you convert data between platforms, that information doesn't come over.
Right.
So that is typically sometimes a concern when people move from desktop to online. It's, oh my goodness, I now have to ask all my customers again for their credit card. But also with regards to QuickBooks emailing invoices, right? You email an invoice, the customer is the one that is entering in their payment
Right.
information. That information is stored, but it's stored PCI compliant underneath that umbrella of PCI compliance.
Right.
You'll never see it,
I'll never see.
but the encryption, it's stored securely so that in the worst case scenario of a data breach, that information won't be accessible because the reverse engineering of 256-bit, whatever it is that they do is virtually impossible to do. But that's great for the software. But you, Rachel, as a business owner, may have some non-PCI compliant business practices because how do
Yeah.
you get that information into QuickBooks? Do you ask for your customers to email you your credit card information? Well, that's not right.
Never ever.
Or just text it to me. Or those types of things are not PCI compliant business practices.
Right.
And that's what the source of where those emails were coming from when people were getting those emails of, hey, sign up for this service and then you'll be PCI compliant, right? So
Right.
that's the big distinction between the two, of having a software that's PCI compliant and having a business practice that's
Right.
certified PCI compliance. And that's
Oh,
what they
yeah.
do.
So helpful. I adopted a lot of practices that I knew were better. I would tell my clients, don't ever email. We use a secure file uploading system. We don't
Mhm.
ever email anything, text anything. I always thought that was as secure as we could be, but now I understand this is
Right.
essential. We have to, as a business, I have to be PCI compliant.
Yeah, because you may have a person or someone that goes, okay, they like, can you just charge my card? Okay. And then they write it on a sticky note
Mhm.
and then they use that to enter that into the QuickBooks. Well, that particular part of having it on a sticky note floating around the office, that was one of the things, like some of the sites that I had been to with Intuit, like they would outsource or what have you, they had a policy of no paper where nobody could write down any of this sensitive, personally identifiable information, inclusive of credit cards, dry erase boards, but not paper, right? So they couldn't keep those things. So I wanted to share this particular article, which is all about learning about QuickBooks PCI compliance, which has a lot of information in it. what's PCI DS compliance? We expand on that. Oh, there's 12 requirements that you need you need to do. Protecting your own systems with firewalls is one of them. Using adequate configuration standards, protecting stored data. These are all the things that you as a business owner should be doing. And that's what these services and these emails were all about is, hey, let's make sure, let's like audit your business practices and make sure that,
Yeah.
and then certify that you are being PCI compliant. And that's some of these things that QuickBooks doesn't have any dealings with. Like they don't govern anything regarding you and your firewall practices.
No, they don't.
They don't
Are you
they don't
going to
require
post
that.
link in the where you post the links?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I want to keep this and save this.
Right.
Do a
There's
little
gotta
bit
be
more
in the
research. Because I'm thinking
comments
about,
on your,
all right, go ahead.
no, I
I-
just put it in the chat.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I'm thinking about now, not necessarily just QuickBooks, but some of the other apps that I use that I know take customer payments. And one in particular I'm thinking of, I know is PCI compliant, but yeah, it makes me want to take a look at all things.
I tried to put it in the chat and I got a message that said, oops. Well, I don't know if you can see and put it in the
No,
chat.
it worked for me.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was able to click on it. I didn't get a noob.
Okay, good. Tried to put it in there and it's saying reload, which I don't want to reload the page because then that may cause me to disappear and then Rachel will be just sitting here wondering. So we don't want that. Jamie says it's in the chat. So good. We
Right.
have confirmation from those that are watching about that. But that's all about the PCI compliance. And then where this comes into play here is that GoPayment, as we talked about before, and why does it do that? I don't understand that. Makes me so huge when I stop sharing. Don't want that. Where GoPayment came into being was because it was a PCI compliant
Right.
software and QuickBooks Online, the mobile app, was not, right? So that was the initial distinction between why I had to have a GoPayment app when I had QuickBooks Online until developments happened. And now QuickBooks Online is a PCI compliant application and software. So when you are using QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Payments, you don't need to process credit cards with GoPayment solely, right? You can do that now inside of the QuickBooks Online app, right?
Just a question, Dan.
Okay.
So I'm guessing Stripe and Square and all of these payment processors, these guys are all PCI compliant. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So fundamentally, does something become PCI compliant because it's not saving the customer facing payment information? Is that what makes it PCI compliant, or are there other things involved?
I am sure there are other things, but that is the things that you see external. I think the technical term is obfuscation,
Oh,
which
what?
obfuscation. That's basically when you step out of the field and it X's out everything but the last 4 digits.
Obfuscation.
Ob-
I'll try to have my
Right.
son say that 3 times fast.
That's right. Yeah. X'd out. That's the layman's term for it. As soon as you step off the field, it's cannot see anything but the last 4 digits is obfuscation. And that is the thing that you notice first about something being PCI compliant is it does that, right? Like as soon as you step off that field and enter the card or scan the card, that's the last of it.
Yeah.
Because there is some masking of the actual numbers that are in there and makes it
Well,
mathematically
cool. That's
infinitely
like-
more challenging. It's
Yeah.
not infinite. There is a finite number of options, but it's not worth your time if you don't see the 16 digits or
Got it.
15 if it's American Express.
Now, it doesn't X out part of it. It's gone.
It's still there, right? Because in the grand scheme of things, Once
Or
you
for
enter
person
in,
that's processing the payment, but I can't see it anymore. It's not like
right,
a couple digits and then the rest is X'd out. I can't see it.
right.
Okay.
But you'll be able to use it again, right? Because if you're storing, right, that it has to meet all this criteria to become a PCI piece of software. But QuickBooks does that. It will be able to store the payment information. It's just nobody will be able to get their hands on it
Understood. Okay.
unless they're the software engineer that created this whole process.
Which I am not.
Right.
I don't know how to
Exactly.
skate.
That's right. I can't even regularly skate sometimes. That's how I broke my elbow. Another story, another time. Uh, so that's that. As far as what PCI compliance is, we could spend probably the better part of an hour chatting this up. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the QuickBooks Online mobile app, because now that you know that is also PCI compliant, it now gives you the choice of, okay, if I am accepting credit cards or payments in front of somebody with an app, do I want to use the QBO app or do I want to use a Go payment app? Now we've determined yesterday, right, the difference between the blue and the green experience.
Last
As
week,
long
not
as you're,
yesterday.
oh yes, it seems like yesterday,
Yeah.
but it was last week. Last time, thank you. We talked about the difference between the two, and if you are on the green experience, there's really no need. The only thing that you would probably that would enter into the equation of, okay, do I use Go payment over QuickBooks Online, is if I have some people that don't need access to anything else in my Quick.
That's what you were
Uh,
saying, because we can assign roles in Go Payment.
right. So if you have people that you don't want to have access to your books, they just are out in the field collecting payments in front of as a customer facing individual, then that is where Go payment will come into the mix. If it's you, right? You as the owner, you as the company admin needing to collect payments, there's really no reason not to do it from within QuickBooks, the mobile app, because it does exactly the same thing and it does it even a little bit better than Go payment, because you're not necessarily needing to make sure that using the right login and those types of things. If you can see your QuickBooks data, and if you need to create an item or add a customer, it's all done within
Right.
the app itself.
Yeah. But let me ask you a quick question.
Yep.
Remind me, can we use the swiper with the QuickBooks app, meaning QuickBooks accounting, that app, not Go Payment?
Yes, the card reader that we had talked about last time. Yes, you can use that. It's
Okay.
a little. I was poking around that the app itself went into an update a couple weeks ago, and you used to be able to do a lot more. And I'm not sure why it changed.
We took away
Um,
some things.
it took away some things. So I wanted to bring this up first, which is a really nice article. I will put it in
Ooh.
the chat as well. So we'll quickly throw that in there,
And
which is
this is
really
the
nice.
one that says QuickBooks accounting in the App
Yes.
Store.
So this is the QuickBooks accounting app in your app store of choice, but this will give you an idea, side by side comparison as to what the iPhone, iPad, Android, or Android tablet app is capable of doing, right? And this looks to be complete. When I was looking at this and comparing it to the app, it seems to be fairly comprehensive. So customers, you can create and manage customers, import customers from contacts, see a customer on the map. So these are just some of the things that you can do with customers inside the app. Obviously, it's a little hard to do that on a computer, right? So this mobile app allows you to do that. And you can see the difference between where Android might not be able to do some things. Negative is it's just an odd thing, like entering negative prices and rate that you can't do in the Android app over the iPhone app. Phone users that are a little
Interesting.
bit more negative.
Yeah, sometimes you need to put in maybe a discount, or actually no, or a fee. Like sometimes you want to add like a line maybe for a fee or something, and So you want to put a negative amount.
Right. And then we have some other things in here like tracking expenses using the location and class field. That's a nice thing to be able to do other than having to enter that in and then update it later, right?
Oh, wait, I can't see because the top menu is hidden now, but you can't do that on a Android. You can only do that on
Right.
a.
Yeah. Yeah. Tracking expenses using the location and class fields checked off for these two are the iOS, and then the other two are the Android. So looking here, manually refreshing bank feeds. I'm not sure why you would not be able to do that in the Android,
No.
but so definitely looking through some of these things. Oh, here's one. Managing notification for customer calls
Hmm.
is only in the Android.
I don't even really know what that is, though, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it would be nice if there was a little help bubble to actually tell you
Yeah.
what that was. And Susan is an Android user, and
That's funny. Yeah,
unless
there's
some
also
things to do.
somebody's got a question too, Dan, in the chat. It's not really related to this, but oh yeah, I agree, Jamie. I'm an iPhone now.
Yes.
But I only say that because I don't know how to
We don't want
use
this to
it,
turn
right?
into an Android versus a workshop because it will definitely, you're not going to change anybody's opinion, even though you're a green bubble person in the group chat.
The only reason I use an iPhone is because I just don't know how to use the other one.
That's right.
Well, now I don't want to take the time to learn anything new.
Yeah. You've been bull runned. That's the typic. They
It is.
surrounded you by,
Yeah.
anywho, create a gesture lock. You can do that on the Android. Yeah. And I'm sure Susan
know.
has some wonderful gestures that that she's created on
Oh,
her
wait a
Android.
minute. What's the send overdue invoice notices? I want to see that one because that one I like.
Wait, where
Send a
was it?
reminder. If I'm out and about, I want to send a reminder.
I
I
can't
saw
see that
it.
send arrow.
Uh,
I lost it there.
Yeah.
Send. Oh,
Uh-oh. Oh, boy. What'd you do?
I was just looking for the word send on the screen.
It's okay. I can barely see
They're
them.
here. Yeah, it's here. You can comb through. You can comb through the differences, but that is the thing about the mobile app itself is it's capable of doing these things and it's synchronized between QuickBooks Online. So
Yes.
assuming your app can do this, I got to stare at my phone again because it went asleep. I don't know what gesture I would use to unlock that, Susan, but let me go ahead and share that.
Oh, it's all of them. See overdue invoice notifications. Oh, it didn't said send reminders. It said see overdue invoice
Oh,
notifications on both.
see.
I don't care about
Remember,
seeing them. I want to send a reminder, but I don't really send any invoices anymore. So
right.
that's all right.
So this is the newest iteration of the app on the iPhone. It has a nice today screen, and then there's a My Business, which will give you a profitability, some access to reports. You can see mileage underneath there, and then under the menu option at the bottom will give you shortcuts to do some things, right? So you can see your attachments, right? These are synchronized attachments that you have already uploaded. Maybe you snapped a picture of them and they're synchronized and attached to transactions. The all option. So the shortcuts is like your top 8 friends from MySpace, right?
Yeah.
Going way back there in the social media, but all at the top allows you to see all of the things that you can do and to going to, this is where I was hunting around. Okay, how do you attach a card reader like we did last time?
Because that's what I was
Well,
curious about.
yeah, so I was going into settings and oh, there they are down here.
Right there.
I couldn't
Woo!
see it before because I was in a client that didn't have payments set up. But another way that you can do it is just by going into a sales receipt. Whoops. Or actually, let me do this. Just creating an invoice payment. Okay. This was not looking where to go. Okay. So if I do credit card. No.
By the way, I
No.
love that it defaults to undeposited funds. How
Yeah.
cool is that?
Or payments to deposit depending on the version.
I don't recognize payment to deposit. I'm sorry. I go with
Let me go in
undeposited funds.
here. That's
I
what where, oh, here, plus payment. No. Okay. Then we go credit. Next. trying to find my card reader,
But that's
which is
cool.
not turned
So
on.
I wonder if you got to turn on the little Bluetooth
Yeah, they're not turned on. So
screen really right now.
when I originally went in there, first time that this finding card reader that's swirling at the very top would say card reader not connected, and I
Mm.
could tap on it, and then it would go through that process that we saw last week to
What if
be
it
able to
accidentally
connect. There it is.
finds my earbuds or something, or if it accidentally finds my Bluetooth speaker and then starts playing
Yeah,
out through it or something? Does that happen, or does
uh,
it connect the card
I
reader?
think it only look for eligible card readers.
You never know.
You never know. Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, you always have options to key in the card at the bottom if you tap on
Oh,
load
that's
payment
cool.
options at the bottom, or you can scan the card,
Scan the
right?
card. I like that.
But you will then ask to look at your turn on
Yeah.
access the phone and then be able to scan said card, and then it will bring that in. Now, I'm not sure what rate you get by doing it that way, because in that regard, it was present, right? So it is
Yeah.
a
So
card,
maybe you get a lower
card
rate.
present. So
Yeah.
you should be able to get a lower rate by that. And it may not be the swiped rate, because especially if you've used the little chip option, that is a far more secure method
Mhm.
for the payment providers to know
Yeah.
that card is physically present, as opposed to even swiping magnetic strip.
Chip equals most secure equals lowest rate.
Yes.
Hmm.
Swipe is still the lowest rate. It's just you don't get any benefit of using a chip versus a swipe.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they're both considered equal.
Yes.
Mm. You're right.
Yeah. But you have to offer the option to be able to do that.
Gotcha.
All right. So going through the general ideas, you've got transactions. You can snap a receipt, and then this is great for when you're out and you have a receipt that you need to bring into your QuickBooks. You can collect it, you can snap a picture of the receipt. Categories is really just your chart of accounts, which drives
Wait, what?
sponsors.
That's chart of account?
Yes.
Oh,
Because again, this is business focused, not accountant focused.
all right, fine.
They would like to categorize things, not necessarily chart of account. That's
Yes.
more of the accountant term. Invoices, estimates,
Well,
customers.
because there are categories in QuickBooks.
Yes. Yeah, not to be an item category. Yeah, that would definitely do that. But then
Yeah,
you've got
you're getting some comments on the right-hand side.
yeah.
Just want to let you
Uh,
know.
yes, I'll have to review them just to make sure that I'm understanding what it is, and we can reach out, follow up afterwards
Yes.
after
It
the
looks
workshop.
like somebody has got a question about just QuickBooks in general and setting up, and then someone else is saying, yes, can you please provide some length and brief explanation? So that's
Very broad question, but we do have set up QuickBooks Online courses in School of Bookkeeping,
yeah,
so that's a great way to
tons of
start.
resources.
Is check those courses out. You can try them for free for 30 days. Let us know. You can ask questions in the comments and things of that nature. But yeah, so these are the general ideas that you can do. Mileage is a really nice thing to be able to do that on the app itself, because your phone's with you. You can track your mileage and then mark that down as for deduction purposes. It was always very humorous to me when I got a question of, I don't see mileage on my profit and loss. Oh,
Yeah, we're in there. But I do love this, and a lot of folks are on the road
mhm.
for their business, and this is really helpful.
So those are the general ideas of the things that you can do inside of the mobile app itself. It did this thing where I'm not trying to be larger than you, Rachel.
Oh, Dan.
I'm trying to sit back so we're the same. But those are the things that you can do in the QBO app. Again, if you're charging credit cards, and you are the person doing it and you don't mind the people having access to be able to see said things in the app, you can use the app itself over a Go payment, or you can segregate the two so that you have a Go payments only mobile collection payment user and
Yeah, I
your
love
own
that you
stuff.
can do that because there's a lot of situations that businesses may not want their field team having access to. Hey, guess what? It's not even just having access to, it's inadvertently touching things and goofing things up because it's on the app and it doesn't necessarily look the way it looks in regular facing QuickBooks Online. So that's more
Right.
my concern than anything is having somebody like, and
Yeah,
then,
'cause
and,
the bank feed experience is way different in the app than it is
yeah.
on the mobile or on the website. And I just realized what the people in the chat were saying because they're talking to us on LinkedIn, and all
Ah,
of the links that I'm sending don't get sent over there because
oh, that's
LinkedIn
right. That's
LinkedIn
right.
is being a nudge. That's some
Yeah, LinkedIn doesn't have the same.
I will find you and follow up
Yeah,
with
Sharon
your question.
and Jesse told me. Yeah, that would be really helpful.
Awesome. So we'll continue down this path of doing some of the things that you can do inside the app as we continue this workshop series. We are taking these workshops and repurposing them as individual lessons on in School of Bookkeeping. So like last week, I already took what we had talked about, put it down into bite-sized chunks, and it's all part of the QuickBooks Payments course that we have. So this is a great exercise in going through a lot of this stuff. And we appreciate you joining us today. And I am stalling for time because I need to get the outro video. I need
Well,
an
that's
assistant.
because maybe
That's
can you explain what are some of the other courses you have in School of Bookkeeping? Because there's a lot you need to know to do
yes.
QuickBooks, right?
Yeah, and this serves as a great refresher for us as we're going through some of these topics and needing to update our lessons inside of QuickBooks because 2 weeks ago, if we would have done something on the QBO app, it would have looked completely different because there are things that like you can use the quick you could have used the QuickBooks checking and transferred things into your envelopes and those
Yeah.
types of things. I think that was the main reason for the update because that went away. And it probably again because it was a money movement
Yeah.
activity. Maybe it wasn't PCI compliant. I don't know.
Yeah, and I have to it's important for us to get continued education on things because I didn't know the specifics of PCI compliant. And I'll tell you, and Jamie's on with us right now, and Jamie loves your shirt. Jamie and I monitor thousands of payments per day. So
Mhm.
it's really important to understand PCI compliance. So I concur.
Yes. So we'll continue to go through some of the topics of things that you can do. Like we'll talk about the things inside the QBO app that you can do. But to answer your question, what we've tried to do in School of Bookkeeping is take the nebulous things about QuickBooks and put them into bite-sized consumable nuggets and tutorials, right? So we go through every feature of every version of QuickBooks Online and give an overview of that, and then we use that as the foundation to build on the tougher stuff, right? So we have this whole idea or this concept of let's start with Mr. Rogers and graduate into Sesame Street and then go into electric company. No, I don't know.
Yeah, because
As you
when you look
learn more,
at
right?
everything as a whole, it can get very overwhelming. And so, especially if maybe you're a business owner and don't necessarily have a background in bookkeeping or accounting, yet you still, and maybe you do have a professional helping you, a professional bookkeeper or accountant, but you still want to understand the flow of information. You want to know the fundamentals. You want to know what's going on. And the more, when business owners understand more, I like it. I really do. When they
Right.
understand the information moves within their QuickBooks, maybe how they can use the app. I really like it when they know as much as possible.
Yes. Yeah, there's a great book called Accounting for the Number Phobic. If you haven't read that book, that's really good. Dawn wrote the book, and it's really good because especially the first four chapters, it talks about some whose job is it, right? Like it's not your accountant's or bookkeeper's job to make sure that the numbers are meaningful, and they are. Their job is to get the data in a meaningful way, but
Yes.
to tell you what that means, it's not necessarily their job unless that's part of their scope. Like,
Right.
okay, we're going to meet every 2 weeks and we'll talk about your profit and loss and what this actually
But
means.
you know what? Even if we are conveying more, we're interpreting information and giving it to them, which we do with a lot of our clients. If they don't even understand what we're
Yeah,
saying, it's meaningless. So even for them to understand the basics of what goes on what statement, what does this mean? It's really important as a business owner to understand those fundamentals.
exactly. So we go through some of these Mr. Rogers-esque courses, like what does a cash flow statement actually mean and what does it tell you in School of Bookkeeping. Check them out if you want or not. Totally fine. They're there for you or not. How about that for choice? All right. So we will see you next time on the workshop. Always a pleasure to see you, Rachel, and everyone that is joining us. And I will follow up with whomever I need to on LinkedIn to make sure that you have the information that you need post the show here. Really appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you next time on the workshop.